The Constitution is actually fairly general about what's supposed to happen. It simply says that the electoral votes are presented to the Senate and that the president of the Senate, that is the vice president, currently Mike Pence, then opens each one up and presents it to be counted. Now, what happens beyond that is somewhat vague, but Congress, after the tumultuous election of 1876 with Hayes and Tilden, enacted an electoral counting act, which specifies what is supposed to happen now. And what's supposed to happen is apparently what is happening today, which is that if one senator and one representative object to a particular slate of electors, then the houses of Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate, separate, and they convene separately, and they have 2 hours to decide whether to support the challenge to the electors or to reject it. And then they come back to the House chamber and re-enter a joint session, and then the results of those challenges are given. And only if both houses of Congress sustain an objection to a slate of electors is that slate then dismissed. These sorts of protest votes, if you will, have been made before, and they're perfectly constitutional and they're perfectly legal in terms of congressional statutes. The real question is whether it's appropriate to make such objections without any evidence at all. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. If a member of Congress or the United States Senate decides that they want to present an objection and have the Congress debate it, well, that's their prerogative. Where is the evidence? We've gone through months of challenges and recounts and court challenges, all of which have confirmed the existing accounts, and all of which the court cases have all rejected these challenges, and primarily because there is literally no evidence of widespread voter fraud. But there was no systematic widespread fraud, and certainly not fraud on a level to reverse the outcome of this election. And I think that's what makes this different from pretty much any election since 1876, is that the people who are objecting really and truly are trying, even though their efforts are probably doomed to failure, they're trying to reverse a presidential election because there simply is no evidence of widespread voter fraud. So that's what will be fleshed out in these 2-hour sessions where Congress divides and debates these objections. And I imagine that's what the Democrats are going to repeatedly say. Why should we reject these votes? And I don't know of any reason other than politics for anyone to object to them. I mean, these procedures are perfectly legal. They're perfectly constitutional. Every senator and every representative has the right to file an objection. But if that senator or representative is only doing so because he or she doesn't like the outcome of this election, well, then that really does go to the heart of our democratic system, doesn't it? On what basis should we invalidate the votes of millions of people from Arizona or Pennsylvania or some other state? There has to be a darn good reason to do that. And that's why you have to be able to show what that reason is. And without a really strong reason to reject electoral votes, then you really are talking about stripping American citizens of their most fundamental right to choose their own leaders. There are many valid constitutional concerns right now. I think what we need to take some inspiration from is that we have been here before, most notably in the election of 1876, which was even more rancorous than this one. And we've been through worse constitutional crises, most notably the Civil War. And somehow each time the Republic survived. So I think that that's what we can conclude. At the end of the day, the Republic will survive. I haven't done the arithmetic, but if they object to every single state that they think Biden shouldn't have won, then they could be there quite a while. We might have an end of this until the next day or two.